Support for Donnybrook Last Call is provided in part by Design Air Heating and Cooling.
Thank you so much for joining us for Last Call. We're going to get to some of the topics we didn't have room for in the first half of the program. Jamie, I want to ask you about what at one point was the fastest growing bakery cafe, if not restaurant chain in the United States. St. Louis-based Panera, known to many of us as St. Louis Bread Co. It shares co-headquarters with Needham, Massachusetts, but it's at the old, I think it's on I-44 right now in Sunset Hills.
Yeah, it's on Watson Road.
It's on Watson Road?
Yes,
Okay.
It's still there.
Yeah. So the headquarters is here, but the CEO said this week that they made some mistakes. Business was down 5% last year, and the reasons include not enough labor and smaller portions. And I got to say, I'm with them. I think they made some mistakes. What do you think?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I am very glad to hear the CEO saying that, like, these are the mistakes we made, and he is putting forth a plan. I believe it's called Panera Rise. He's putting forth a plan to change things around. I am from the original St. Louis Bread Co. lovers. Like, it was my favorite place to go. It was like a friend hangout. It was a family place. We all loved it. I mean, I used to, I love the You Pick Two. It was, you guys, it was a thing.
What was your You Pick Two?
It was the chicken and wild rice, and then with the sandwich,
Good stuff.
Okay, but over the years, it's less and less and less. I mean, it's like I hardly ever go there anymore. It's so sad. And I mean, those of us who I think were true fans of the original Bread Co. I mean, we are sad. I mean, because you could see the portions. You could see the portions shrinking, the cost going up, and then not even that long ago, I went to one Panera, and it was like a huge Panera, but he had to do the kiosks. I'm like, I needed something, could not find an employee. I mean, it was...
I'm going to say Jamie is not alone in this. We led off our newsletter the other day with this story of, they're trying to turn it around. I heard from so many people, and what I heard from them is, I used to love it, and now it's horrible. People have turned on this brand, and St. Louisans have turned on this brand. In a way, it feels personal that people are insulted the way that they just tried to raid this thing for profits. Here's the thing that has me concerned. I loved what the CEO was saying. I loved how frank he was. And as I saw the story go viral, I kept thinking, wow, I sure hope they don't try to rein him in. It was great to see him be so honest. But anytime venture capital gets involved with these companies, they are just wringing the profit out, and the consumers suffer. I don't know that I believe they can turn this around because of the involvement of these.
I want to believe it.
There's you clearly do.
Right. I was on the East Coast at the time, and St. Louis Bread Company started popping up in cities across America. And, that's before, and then they became Panera. It was still St. Louis Bread Company here, but it was Panera, but you knew it was St. Louis Bread Company. It was kind of something, hey, that's cool, St. Louis, rah, rah. Right. So we get back to St. Louis, and it's fine that it's here, but notice the same. Don't go there as much, and, all that. Ian Frobe has a story in the Post-Dispatch here that just restaurants are having tough time, and they're going on social media and saying, please support us because the price of hamburger is skyrocketed, and et cetera, et cetera. But Panera and restaurants, you recognize you had a problem, fix it. Build a better mousetrap. That's all I could say to all of them is that, hey, find some way to bring customers in, and if it's going back on the increased portions or cutting the price down, do something that gets people in the door. And it's not up to us it's up to us to save your restaurant, but you got to give people a reason to come.
For me, it was the lettuce. It was the lettuce blend. Like when they started undercutting the lettuce. And I wonder sometimes, because like you're pointing out, if St. Louis has turned on Panera, I kind of wonder, because we are a great and loving people, but we can be petty. And when you removed our name from your company, even though because that was like, to me, it was like our San Francisco, you think of San Francisco bread, you think of St. Louis Bread Company. I think a lot of people are like, see, if you
There was some of that. There
was.
Really
But wait,
it's like the Rams.
Let me give you an example, though.
Watch the
All right, you
Rams.
mentioned the Rams, but let me give you an example. The St. Louis Cardinals ain't changed their name, and people people are like, I'm not going down.
They would go to the Panera
They would go to the Panera before they went to the ball game.
Yeah, no,
and they're
you're
sitting
right.
like, we lost how much over the last night? You
Yeah.
know, so yeah, we can turn on our own regardless of the name.
I think the shrinkflation was the big issue. You know,
And it was
you open up a
real.
tuna sandwich. There's very little tuna on it, but the price went up $4.
Oh my God! In
was
fact,
real.
I went to Panera, and it was like the four of us, and I think it was like some astronomical amount of money, and this was when we started to see the shrinkflation, and it was, this is not good. Yeah. This is not good, because one of your pick two was like a pick one.
Pick none. Now they're doing pick none.
Pick none.
Hey, how about you, Sarah? Today, the mayor of St. Louis, according to the Business Journal, decided to implore businesses in the region, the big companies, maybe the Enterprises or the Centenes, I guess Peabody, although they moved out last week, and others, to move downtown St. Louis, or to bring some form of employee involvement downtown St. Louis, or at least put a sign up to show that you care. What do you think?
I think this is good. I heard from so many business people who were so down on Tashara Jones, and they kept saying, like, we'd love to invest in whatever, but we just don't trust the leadership. Well, they got what they wanted. They got the leader they wanted, and she is asking them to put their money where their mouth is. The other thing people kept saying, downtown is not safe, and if you could just fix this, then we would come back. Downtown right now feels so safe that it has gotten boring. They have cleaned it up to the point that no one goes there anymore. So it is time for the businesses to step in. Bob Clark, the founder of Clayco, was on my podcast before the mayoral election, and he said, yeah, we've been talking about we should all get together and we should just fill a building. Each of us could take a couple floors. I'd love to see them do that. I think it's a great idea. Bob could get these guys together, make it happen. Let's see something happen here.
Yeah, but what about the employees? Would they then have to move to the county or wherever to the city and pay a 1% earnings tax?
Well, 1%, I think that's a small price to pay to be around the glory
Yeah,
of the city of St. Louis.
I think the Greek chorus of the 1% earnings tax has got to just put the kibosh on that. It's going to take that to get the city back up again.
And driving from the suburbs of St. Louis is not hard. This is not like New York City.
That's not the issue.
Driving's
not the
issue.
issue.
You said
Right.
About would the
1%
employees
earnings tax.
No, you said would the employees have to move? No, they wouldn't have to move.
Yeah, it's 20
But
minutes.
It's 20 minutes. You
At
wouldn't have to
least.
move.
No, what I mean, they wouldn't move, but they'd have to commute. To downtown and
What
from
has
wherever they are.
happened to- what has
and they'd
happened
have to
to
pay
us?
1%.
What do you mean?
What has happened to us last
But you
year?
can't
Remember,
commute
there were so many
because
people.
you're acting as if the other areas are not attractive. But Clayton's attractive, Westport's attractive.
Yeah, but without our
Blackbrook's
hub,
attractive.
without our
You've got
hub.
to have
No,
something
no,
going.
Without our hub.
I'm just talking about if Bob Clark and all want to say, like, we're going to do something and move this part of our business to this building and try to fill this entire building. If you were an employee and you said, like, look, this is where your job is going, you either commute or you get another job. I get the investment. Now, the signs, good idea. But look, no mom and pop stuff. Neon, flashing. Like, when people come down, like, man, what's happening down there? And it might not be nothing.
Like
but
a
it'll
Cardinal
look like,
game.
right, it'll be,
All that neon.
seriously, people will be attracted to
Let's
that.
fake 'em out.
They won't do a damn thing.
Oh, no.
You put up a flashy sign.
Yeah, you put up a flashy sign in a building where you can
What
get
are
a
you
cheap
talking
drink,
about?
Charlie.
No, if you put up a cheap drink,
Yeah, that's
now
what
you're
I'm
talking.
talking. Okay. That's what I'm
What she's saying is just put up signs.
I know, no, the sign
sign.
will be
Now she-
accompanied by the gaudy business.
But she
Sign is
also,
not enough.
but Mayor Spencer was also talking about how exciting. We've taken our first steps on the Millennium and bringing it down. So that's exciting. The bike path,
Green-
right? The
Yeah,
green
brick line.
Brick line.
right,
Green
brick
line.
line.
I don't think
There are
you
good
guys
things
know
happening.
a dang thing about urban development. What you need to do is pick up the book by Jane Jacobs, The Death and Life of Great American Cities.
Okay, and
that's
what-
all there is
and
to
all
it.
you- that's- you know
need
what?
Small shops, people on the sidewalks, and
What
it's
do you
kind of
think's
a
going to
chicken
bring
and egg
people to the sidewalk?
shops.
And neon
Shops,
signs.
shops
People
with
should shop
safety.
in that